The following is an exclusive presentation of Turner Sports.
Three of the four teams that comprise the expansion class of the late 80s have earned their postgraduate degrees in the postseason. Miami's made 3 trips in their brief history, while Charlotte celebrated an emotional entrance in '93. Orlando has been a playoff fixture for the last 3 years, leaving Minnesota as the lone wolves of the expansion pack. With the addition of Stephon Marbury and Kevin Garnett, Minnesota has developed a potent pairing that has made once unthinkable playoff dreams a virtual reality for this season. At the NBA's more advanced level of learning, Seattle has earned high marks. Their perennial pair of all-stars has them poised for another finals run as they hope to drive home their points in the playoffs. Welcome to Seattle, Washington, along with Reggie Theus. This is Bob Neal. And out in the West, everybody knows if you want to have playoff success, you got to go through Seattle. Minnesota Timberwolves come in here to play the Seattle Supersonics tonight, and the jockeying is already going on. As you see, Seattle probably won't catch Utah, but they have to keep their eyes on the Lakers in Houston. Minnesota probably won't catch Portland, but look out for Phoenix. Phoenix and the LA Clippers are close enough to be in range of them. And for both of these coaches, Reggie Theus, it's a challenge, particularly for George Karl, to keep his team motivated, knowing that they're there, they're the defending conference champion. He's got a tough task.
Well, you know, Coach Karl gave us a great coaching tip. For all you armchair coaches out there, he said, coaching is saying the same thing over and over, just in different ways. The Seattle Supersonics are only worried about what they do best, wanting to be a proactive team.
And as you look at the Seattle Supersonics being introduced at Key Arena right now, let's talk about Minnesota. Minnesota won at Denver on Wednesday night. They come in here playing pretty well. They had them on TNT Tuesday against Houston. Very good up front, particularly those 2 forwards.
No question. It's great to be young and good, Bob, isn't it?
Yeah.
I tell you what, Tom Gugliotta and Kevin Garnett doing a great job. Gugliotta's a banger that has a great floor game, and Garnett could be great at the 4 spot or the 3, depending on how he feels out in his life. But the 2 guys playing off each other's strong points, gaining respect around the league along with their team.
And 2 really good guards here. You could say the guard of the present and the guard of the future,
no
Payton
question.
and Marbury.
The best point guard in the league right now, going against the future of the league. But you may see, because of Payton's great post-up ability, Doug West starting the game off on Payton, trying to keep him off that post.
A little more size, and Payton loves to get down on the post and pass from down there. And as we told you earlier, the Seattle Supersonics have defeated Minnesota 24 consecutive times. Here are the starting lineups for tonight's ball game. First of all, for the Minnesota Timberwolves, you're going to see Stephon Marbury starting at the point. He'll play with Doug West, of course. And at the center position, Dean Garrett, a veteran. And, of course, Tom Gugliotta and Kevin Garnett are the forwards. There you go. Now you see them. And for the Seattle Supersonics, Payton and Hawkins. Hawkins has really stepped up his offensive game in the absence of Detlef Schrempf, who's been injured. Schrempf, by the way, has been working out, should be back around the 1st of April. Kemp and Stewart playing at that forward position, the journeyman who's moved into the starting role and gives them a physical presence. And you see McElvain, who starts at center but only plays about 10 minutes or so before Sam Perkins comes off the bench. And there's the 6'2 rookie from Georgia Tech, Stephon Marbury, and Tom Gugliotta, who's having himself a wonderful year at the forward position, playing opposite Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett, the youngster who came out of high school, out of Farragut Academy in Chicago. A lot of people wondered if he'd be mature enough, just as they wondered about Shawn Kemp when he came out of high school early. Kevin Garnett is a special young man. If you talk to Flip Saunders, he says he not only has a maturity beyond his 20 years, but also has a real basketball brain, a very intelligent player. And we're going to jump it again. Our officials tonight are Joe Borgia, Greg Willard, and Hugh Hollins. And as we get underway, Seattle with the ball, the Seattle Supersonics have scored 100 points 3 times in a row over beating this team. They lead them 3-0 this year. And the Sonics with an early turnover. Reggie, what I was going to go to is Seattle is going, there's flip. Seattle's going to pressure this team early.
Well, no question. They know that that is something that has worked for them in the past. Pressuring all over the court, whether it be full court or half court, but they need that pressure, trying to get the ball out of Marbury's hands all the time.
Gugliotta, we talked about the forwards and how important they are, particularly Gugliotta, because we're going to see a lot of double teams from Seattle on Kevin Garnett. Just underway from Seattle. Hope you enjoyed that thriller with Indiana getting the big shot by Fred Hoiberg to win in overtime. If you ducked out of the living room for just a moment, you missed an incredible finish to that game, Indiana over Charlotte. We're here with our second of our doubleheader tonight, just getting underway. Here's Kevin Garnett. He opens scoring.
Well, they had a nice little wheel off the top of the key. Kevin Garnett comes down the lane wide open, has a nice touch around the lane. Jump hooks, little one-hand leaners, right and left-handed.
Nancy Hawkins into Shawn Kemp.
Oh, he had a hard night last night, Gardner Lajuan. Dean Garrett just can't let Kemp go around the bucket like that. He's going to be a highlight film all night long.
Shawn Kemp really turning it up the last few games, tuning up for the playoffs. And Dean Garrett, we'll talk more about him. He's the oldest rookie in the NBA at 30 years old after spending a lot of time in Europe. Nice pass inside. Marbury hands it off to Dean Garrett for the jam. But Dean Garrett is going to be playing Shawn Kemp one-on-one, at least to start this game. Payton misses his attempt, and Dean Garrett out of Indiana. He played on that '87 Indiana championship team.
And look at the ball movement. The T-Wolves 2 times in a row, 2 great heads-up passes.
It's a dunk contest here. First of all, Shawn Kemp bringing rain.
Can't let him get baseline. You got to stop him because he knows what to do with it. On the other end, 2 good passes, and look at Garnett getting him back.
Actually, it was Garnett the last time. Garrett on that pass we just saw there. Dean Garrett, McIlvain with the rebound. Hawkins on the drive. Has to double clutch. Good interior defense. Out of bounds. Seattle ball with 7 on the shot clock. So it's 6-2 T-Wolves early, and this is a reversal as you look at George Karl. T-Wolves have been giving up a lot of points early and getting behind early lately, but here they're out in front 6-2.
Well, something that they really wanted to work on, giving up 35-plus points in the first quarter of several games here lately. Getting out to a good start tonight.
That's the second rebound for Kevin Garnett. Garrett wears number 22. He's the 30-year-old rookie. Gugliotta from the perimeter. That's his game, but he doesn't get it this time. And Garnett, number 21, is the 20-year-old rookie. Here's Gary Payton. Loves to get to that baseline so he can run things from there. And McIlvain misses what should have been a surefire jam. 6-2 it remains. Timberwolves. Marbury.
Oh, just nice movement. One of the things that Coach Karl was worried about was the penetration of Marbury, and that's why, finding the open guy.
6 consecutive points scored here by the Timberwolves. They lead 8-2. McIlvain, he's got a good perimeter shot. McIlvain plays, as I told you, about 10 minutes at the beginning of the game, 10 minutes at the beginning of the second half. Sam Perkins usually coming off the bench, and then late in the ball game, we've been seeing at the center position more and more of Terry Cummings. Minnesota off to a good start. Garrett missing that time, but Gugliotta saving. Gugliotta right by Kemp. Nowhere to go. Athletic defense on the part of the Supersonics.
One of the things that the Timberwolves are doing really well right now against the Sonics is that they're penetrating and looking for the drive and kick. Anytime you can make penetration on the Sonics traps, that frustrates their defense. Very nice move on Flip Saunders' team.
Flip Saunders, a veteran of the CBA, was an executive in the front office when he took over as head coach here in Minnesota. College teammate of Kevin McHale. McIlvain with the rebound and the putback. 8-6 T-Wolves now. They led it 8-2, and 2 consecutive baskets by the Sonics have made it a 2-point game. 4 points, 3 rebounds already for McIlvain. Marbury's pull-up 3 attempt. That's what Seattle wants them to do. Have to shoot it from the perimeter.
Oh, nice.
Hawkins gets the pass from Shawn Kemp.
A That's a big-time pass down the lane with a little skip with the foot.
Now Seattle on a 6-0 run, matching the 6-0 run previously by Minnesota. Larry Stewart playing Gugliotta. Gugliotta has not been able to get it to fall. He's missed 3 jump shots. 8-8. Now make it 10-8. Larry Stewart slipped back quickly on transition, and the Sonics have taken the lead.
Shawn Kemp coming down court. Watch him run the skip. Watch his feet. Skip, and then the little pass to the middle. Nice off the dribble.
And a triple from the corner by Gary Payton. Let me just recap what happened there in case you missed it. Minnesota with an unforced turnover. Seattle gets the ball, inbounds it at their own end, and Gary Payton hits the triple, and they lead it by 5. T-Wolves jumped out to an 8-2 lead. The Sonics went on an 11-0 run now. 5 points off turnovers. Flip Saunders very upset there because Tom Gugliotta didn't get the ball in bounds in 5 seconds.
Well, Hugh Hollins was not going to listen to Gugliotta complain about the play before that. He's a veteran referee, and he was doing the 5 count right in Gugliotta's face, and Gugliotta ignored it. So Hugh did what he was supposed to do, gave him a 5 count.
Now, this is a team that's pretty good on taking care of the ball, averaging about 15 turnovers a game, but they're facing the Seattle Supersonics, who lead the league in steals. 13-8 Sonics. It was 8-2 T-Wolves when the lights went out. Doug West was open for that shot over Hersey Hawkins, and it's 13-10. Sellout crowd here at Key Arena in Seattle. Seattle right now in 2nd place in the seeding in the Western Conference playoffs, and Minnesota in 6th. McIlvain has had a good start.
Well, the pace of this game right now, Bob, is quite fast. I know that plays more into the Sonics game plan because this is the way they play every night. You see nice defense by Garrett, but it hit the back of the backboard, and that is a no-no.
Gary Payton with 6 on the shot clock. Payton behind the Kemp pick. Rebound Gugliotta. 13-10, T-Wolves trailing, 6:18 to go, first period. We just watched a physical beat-em-up, knock-em-down game in the East. Now we got the run-and-gun West going, and Kevin Garnett, the 20-year-old from Chicago, with the jump shot. It's a 1-point game, and Kevin has 6 points early. Hersey Hawkins, who stepped up offensively in the absence of Detlef Schrempf. Kemp with another good pass. This one to Larry Stewart. Gugliotta with yet another rebound. A nice pass ahead. An excellent transition defense. What an athletic defensive team, the Seattle Sonics.
The best in transition defense, along with the Chicago Bulls. Gugliotta has a nice look to Garnett down court, but 2 Sonic players back to defend it. And look at the hustle. Stewart all over the place.
Minnesota ball, 19 seconds on the shot clock. Garnett will inbound. This Minnesota team thinking a lot about the other Minnesota team headed into the Final Four. Gugliotta misses again. He's really struggling offensively tonight, although Gugliotta's been tough on the defensive boards early. Hersey Hawkins has it punched away by Stephon Marbury, 16 on the shot clock. This time last year, Stephon Marbury was running the point guard position for Georgia Tech. He also is just 20, turned 20 in February. Kemp, double pull.
That was very sweet, Bob. How about the one-hand hang, change of direction off the glass? So sweet.
15-12 Seattle, 5:09 to go first period. Along with Reggie Diaz, Bob Neal with you from Key Arena. Marbury has it swatted away by McIlvain. He's having a heck of a start in this game.
Check out Shawn Kemp. Look at that. Do we need to say anything? And then the sweet one off the glass. Marbury going to the bucket like he wants to do, but McIlvain,
2 blocks already in this game for McIlvain. Here's Doug West. This is the three-pointer. Gugliotta with another rebound. He's been active on the board.
But this team plays hard. The T-Wolves are really getting after it offensively and defensively right now.
See Payton, the glove as they call him, defending Stephon Marbury. Marbury with the handoff to Dean Garrett down on the baseline. And Garrett has 6 points early.
Nice little shovel. Check him out. very nice to the guy in the corner, and he finished it. I just love to see that kind of play going on. Dribble, pass, all that stuff.
Garrett came into the NBA after a career at Indiana, hurt himself in his rookie year. Then nobody wanted him. He just kept playing in Italy and Greece, kept playing. Finally, Minnesota gave him a look, and now here he is, a 30-year-old rookie as a starting center. Hustled by the Sonics, but the ball was thrown in under the basket, and Marbury missed the layup. And got a 20-second timeout. Marbury with a veteran play for the youngster.
Not a bad hustle play all the way around. Marbury is getting into the paint, the one thing George Karl does not want to see him doing. And then after missing the shot, staying with it. Check him out. Ball pops loose. He jumps in the air. That's one of the few times I'll see that play, and I actually think it was a decent play, mainly because it was a lot of hustle going on, and it was a possession right under the basket.
You mean the part of the official giving him the 20 on the play?
Absolutely.
We're talking about Hershey Hawkins and what a job he's done stepping it up, particularly offensively, since Detlef Schrempf has been injured. Schrempf due back around the first. And look at Hawkins, 19.6 here since the Schrempf injury. Their record 10-5 in the last 15 games. And of course, Payton and Kemp. We saw Detlef working out before the game.
Hey, I saw him make a couple of nice moves and going to the rack awful hard. He might be pretty close to coming back.
Here we go. This was
there it is.
Hour and a half before the game. Comes up limping a little bit here. You can see he's still a little bit tender.
That's because we knew we were watching.
Exactly. Has a tendon strain, but it's healing. And of course they need it, particularly Payton and Schrempf on that weak side. Devastating offensively. 15-14 Sonics, 3:52 to go in the period. Doug West missing from the perimeter, and once again an offensive rebound for the Timberwolves. Gugliotta with the drive and the handoff to Garrett, and it'll be once again Minnesota ball.
Bob, one of the things that the Timberwolves said earlier today they had to do is ball movement. When they move the ball, they got to move their bodies, and so far in this game they're doing just that.
Here's Doug West. Stephon Marbury at 6'2". Oh, see how quick he is. Offensive foul, wave off the basket.
But that's aggressiveness, and that's something that a coach will live with, doing the things that the Sonics don't want him to happen. Nice move to the middle that opens up for him. And you know what? That was questionable.
Yeah.
McIlvain was still moving just a little bit. You could see where the contact was on the side of McIlvain's body.
3:27 to go, first period. Kemp working inside the Rain Man. Shawn has 6.
One of the reasons why the Timberwolves play so much single coverage is because they're really poor at double coverage and rotating. Right there is a prime example. No help in the back line.
Garnett. They listed him 6'12" because he doesn't want to be at 7 foot. Stephon Marbury needed to be 7 feet to catch that. Out of bounds, another turnover. Now that's the kind of turnover that Flip Saunders doesn't want to see. And we have Nate McMillan coming into the game for the first time tonight for the Sonics.
And this is when Payton, a lot of times you'll see him go down and try to get the post-ups. Tonight is a little different story with Doug West guarding him about 1.5 inches taller.
West commits the foul on Kemp. He came out to play him so tight, didn't want to give up that spin into the middle, but he committed the foul. Sonics lead it by 3. Shawn Kemp has 6 early.
The Final Four, I mean, that's 10 years ago. It's kind of hard to imagine. The only reason I do remember things because I have videotape. You know, I watch the tape almost every summer a little bit. You know, if I got some friends around, I'll turn the tape on or something like that. But I really don't remember too much of it. It seemed like everything went kind of real fast. Everything's kind of a blur. If I didn't have that videotape, I'd be in trouble.
And you saw who Garrett was shooting those hoops over in that championship game. Ronnie Cycli of Syracuse. And you see the numbers on the season and in March. And since he started 34 games ago, Dean Garrett is averaging 10 points and 10 rebounds. 30-year-old, oldest rookie in the league, Reggie.
Hey, he's just happy to be here. Last night, big night, 20 points. And earlier in the season, he had 20 boards. So he's working on both ends of the court.
6 points, 3 rebounds here tonight. Hershey Hawkins missing this time. Kevin Garnett. He is so athletic. Love to watch him. Farragut Academy on the west side of Chicago. Marbury had a good pass, and Garrett just didn't handle it well.
Just a good look. You making that trap, follow him all over the court.
Shawn Kemp uses a pick from McIlvaine. Gary Payton. Oh, with a pass to McIlvaine. That was a pass, right, Reggie? And the block from Garrett. And another good defensive play by Garrett.
Only because Gary's a friend.
Yeah, you're going to give it a pass off the glass that looked like a shot. 17-14. Sonics by 3. And how about Garrett? He got the block and then played defense really tough inside. There's the quick hands of Gary Payton, and then the quick hands of Stephon Marbury to Gugliotta.
Oh, Gugliotta's having a rough night getting to the bucket tonight.
Let's go back to this Dean Garrett. We were just talking about him from his championship. That was 87.
Giving up quite a few inches underneath there, but look at the timing. Get that weak stuff out of here. Come on and come back with the rebound. On the other end, Gugliotta's struggling. And McIlvaine's got about 3 blocks tonight. Goog's 0 for 5 already. Oh, no, yes!
There's the combined. Those players are not as old as you are.
Thanks a lot. Well, what does that say
close,
for you?
Isn't it close? Isn't it close?
But look at the overhead pass and then the over-the-head dunk.
They're both 20 years old. Shawn Kemp. My, oh, my. You saw the combination of Payton and Kemp. And Perkins, by the way, now into the game for Seattle. Seattle starts off good, as George Karl said, and then gets better when they go to the bench.
Very tough. They got a lot of active guys. He's very pleased with his bench. So many things that they can do off the bench. They don't lose a step.
Sonics by 3. Look at Gugliotta stealing it on the transition defense. And we've got ourselves a 1-point game with less than a minute to go.
Check this out. I see it. I see you off the back of my head, eyes in the back of my face. And that's how you finish for him. That's how you give a guy a real assist. He knows where Garnett is. He's just using his talents. Look at that. So fun to watch.
19-16. This at 1 point, obviously 3 points. 45 seconds to go in the first period. Wingate also in for Seattle.
Well, I tell you what, Bob, this first period has been a blur. I'm talking about some real up-and-down basketball, really playing to the Sonics' benefit. I think later on in the game, it may take its toll on Timberwolves, but right now, they're playing right with them.
What's amazing, there's Sam Mitchell, who's the veteran, journeyman, and George Karl said he's always concerned about him because he's one of the players that causes problems for Seattle defensively. 3-point lead for the Sonics. I was going to say all this up and down, but still it's only a 19-16 game. Gugliotta is now 0 for 6 in this period. Nice save by Mitchell. No shot clock. Marbury. I mean, he makes Payton look slow sometimes.
Very smart move. Very smart move. Payton tried to walk up on him. Marbury went right by him. Smart move.
2 seconds to shoot. Good interior defense as the period comes to an end. Low scoring, a lot of action, but it's only 19-16. Shawn, 8 points and 3 boards early. Time in the Great Northwest. Sonics up 19-16 as we're ready to begin the second period of play of these two teams, both headed to the playoffs. Right now, Minnesota's 6th seed and Seattle the 2nd seed in the West, as Utah is the number 1 seed at the moment. Probably will hold it that way. And we get a foul. Gugliotta finally has something good happen for him. He was 0 for 6 prior to that.
Well, the one thing you have to know is, as a player, when things are not going well for you offensively, you got to find a way to get to the line. That's the mark of a real tough-minded player right there. Gugliotta getting to the free throw line after going 0 for 6. But it hasn't helped him. He still hasn't got on the board yet.
I was going to say it's jet lag, but this is the 3rd of a 4-game West Coast strip. They're coming up on TNT Tuesday. Lakers and Sonics. That'll be a beauty. They're really battling in there. And on Wednesday, Hawks will be at the Hornets. And also Wednesday, as part of our doubleheader, Rockets at the Suns. Phoenix. Danny Ainge has them playing.
We had a very low-scoring first quarter. Well, the reason is that Minnesota shooting 35%, Seattle 38%.
Sam Perkins, this is the runner. Hugh Hollins couldn't see it, so he asked for help from Greg Willard, and Willard said it is Seattle ball. And here's Terry Cummings. What a pickup. Out of retirement, back to Seattle, and he's playing better every day.
Hey, you don't get pickups like that mid-season. That's doing your homework.
Shawn Kemp will take a rest. Sits down with 8 points. Seattle leads it by 2. Perkins working down on the post. I thought Mitchell got a piece of it, but no, they say it's Minnesota ball. Sam Mitchell on the floor now, number 42, playing for Minnesota, along with Stephon Marbury, Tom Gugliotta, Kevin Garnett, and James Robinson, the guard out of the University of Alabama, is in. He wears number 26, and he's being defended by Gary Payton, and Wingate is now on Marbury. Trying to post up Gugliotta. Cummings will have none of it. Shot clock down to 7. With the shot fake and the drive and his first hoop of the night.
Well, just keep going to the bucket. Give yourself a chance. That's all I got to say, Tom.
Tied at 19. 24 consecutive times Seattle has beaten Minnesota. If they win tonight, they'll tie the NBA record for consecutive wins over one team in a season, or in the NBA history, actually. Phoenix had beaten Minnesota 25 times until Minnesota beat Phoenix last year. Tied at 19, chance for the T-Wolves to jump back on top. Marbury's quickness is truly amazing. In a game of quickness.
You're talking about a step and a crossover. Left the man standing flat-footed. Deep in the corner, Marbury showing, Perkins, you can't handle me. What were you doing, big fella?
And Perkins is called for the foul as Stephon Marbury steps to the free throw line.
What else could he do?
72% free throw shooter. I talked to this young man when he was a freshman at Georgia Tech, and even then he was being prepared by his family. Comes from a very solid family background, being prepared for big-time basketball. So I think at 20 years old, he'll probably handle the NBA very well.
No question. All he talked about earlier when I talked to him was the fact that the team's improving and we're turning some heads.
Terry Cummings loses control with Gugliotta, 5 on the shot clock. Payton, so dangerous down there. So dangerous down there. Robinson just couldn't do anything with it.
Well, that's what we're talking about in the post-up. People don't realize that Payton is a very tall player. He's always down in defensive position. He looks a lot shorter, but as a post-up player, he's very difficult to handle. About standing 6'4".
Yeah, what I say earlier, Kevin Garnett 6'12".
Yeah, exactly.
McMillan catches Garnett off guard, penetrates and gets it to Perkins, and then McMillan follows. That's what Seattle had missed most of the season with the injury to Nate McMillan, and he adds so much. George Karl has said it over and over again. When McMillan's playing days are over, he has a seat on the bench beside him as an assistant coach.
The intangibles, you can't pay for them.
Backdoor cut by Stephon Marbury, and the pass from Gugliotta.
Bob, check out the Timberwolves getting to the basket consistently on the Seattle Supersonics. That does not look defensively like a Sonic team that we know.
Payton on the drive, and he's fouled by James Robinson. Doug West is going to get back into the game. And Terry Porter also checking in. Marbury and Gugliotta will rest. So we go to the bench now. The only starter still out on the floor is Kevin Garnett. Terry Porter, I'll always remember his college, Wisconsin, Stevens Point. How could you forget? Veteran who adds that kind of leadership and bench help to this team, Terry Porter. David Wingate, open for a triple. The pass from Gary Payton. 26-23 Sonics.
As a prime example of rotating slow defensively, one of the reasons why they don't really like to double team on the low post.
It's the bench where Seattle and the Timberwolves really separate. Seattle with as good a bench as there is in the league. Minnesota weak there.
Oh, that was a forced three.
Harry Porter never got his feet under him on that one. Drew the front edge of the iron. Sonics by 3. Now Nate McMillan open on the perimeter. Here's Robinson on the run. Terry Porter.
Look how fast Seattle gets back in defense. Great transition defense this team.
Porter, his 12th year in the NBA. His first year. Second year, Kevin Garnett, 20 years old. 19 playing last year. Nate McMillan with the ball and the foul, or else there would have been an easy layup at the other end. Hersey Hawkins is going to check back in.
Some things, a player plays great defense sometimes with great footwork. McMillan's one of those guys. Take a look at him, how long his arms are. Unbelievable reach and quick hands. Nick McMillan's one of the best guard defenders in the league.
McMillan's a 10-year veteran. You talk about, we'll show you this later. We have it graphically as you took the turnover story. The difference in the experience of these two teams, of Seattle and Minnesota. As I say, we'll show you a little bit later, but it's incredible. It isn't just the couple of young players for Minnesota.
Well, you have turnovers all over the floor. Minnesota almost at the halfway mark on their turnovers, leading to 7 Seattle points so far.
Inside to Sam Mitchell, struggling with control of the ball. And
there's another one.
The Sonics come back with the turnover. McMillan lost the handle. Looked like it went off. It looked like it went off Cummings' leg, but they're saying it went off Garnett. I don't know about that. Nevertheless, the Sonics will have the ball.
Game, very up and down game. A little bit on the sloppy side. Not really getting it all together, but look at that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's easy to call that one with a replay, huh?
Yeah. Dave McMillan with 6 on the shot clock. 7:09 to go in the half. Rebound Terry Porter. 26-23. Incredibly low-scoring game for as much end-to-end action as we've had. James Robinson open in the corner for 3. And we're tied again at 26.
Well, that's one of the first times the Timberwolves have come down and got an early offensive shot. Before, it's usually penetration and drive kickoff. That time, they got it up the court on the pass and got it to an open guy. Robinson deep in the corner.
George Karl gets a Seattle timeout. It's good. Thank you.
Well, one of the things that the Timberwolves have a problem with is double teaming on the low post because of their rotating in the back line. Right, Terry Porter right there goes down the double team. This man should be rotating already. Where they laid at, it's coming this way. Now the second rotator out to the shooter is the problem. Slow on rotating out to long-range bombers.
Yeah, Flip Saunders was talking about it today. He said you can coach it and coach it and coach it, but you learn to think instinctively through experience.
Well, sometimes young players do exactly what you say instead of doing the natural basketball thing. And that's something that he also said was the one great thing about a young team is that they get older.
There's that double team again. There's the slow rotation again. But Cugliata got to McMillan and to Cummings down low. Perkins follows up. Robinson saves it, but inbounds to Wingate. Wingate's pass was deflected, and Minnesota comes away with it.
But that's why it was a good rotation, because Cugliata made the second effort strong. It's not the first rotation. It's usually the second rotation that stops the shot.
There's pick and roll. Cugliata set the pick and then floated open for a perimeter shot, and he finally knocks one down from out there. 28-26 T-Wolves now. 5 points for Cugliata.
And that was probably the toughest shot Cugliata had all night, and he just drained it.
And we have the foul on Sam Mitchell as he's trying to defend the 7-foot-tall Sam Perkins. And Perkins goes out, and what do you get back? Kemp.
Not a bad deal, huh?
We'll give you a relief and take Perkins out for a moment. That's the good news. The bad news is...
Well, the difference is that I give you a little relief from the perimeter, but boy, you got to deal with some inside pressure now.
Now Garrett is also back in the game, Dean Garrett.
Good move, because Mitchell would have a real problem guarding Kemp down on that low block.
28-26, T-Wolves up by 2 with 5:48 to go in the first period. David Wingate to Kemp. Nice play by the veteran Terry Porter, grabbing the loose ball. Porter and Robinson, the guards on the floor. Running a lot of the offense through Cugliata, as Flip Saunders said he was going to do that simply because Cugliata could make some nice plays as a point forward. Nobody touched it from Seattle, so it's going to be Sonics ball.
Bob, one of the things that they want to do is keep the pressure off of Marbury so much. Cugliata being able to handle the pressure outside against the big guys.
Minnesota already with 10 turnovers, but before you say too much about that, look at the scoreboard. T-Wolves are up 2. Kemp. There's the double team. Wingate going by Cugliata with a handoff inside to Cummings. the foul and the basket.
That's just pure muscle down there. Getting the ball in the paint amongst all the muscles down there, and Cummings really knowing what to do with it in the paint. Look at that. Grabs it, draws the contact, keeps his mind on the basket, and finished the shot.
And that's Garrett's first personal foul. And Terry Cummings stepped to the free throw line. Terry Cummings has been around San Diego, Milwaukee, San Antonio, Seattle. And what's one of the things that's consistent with the teams he played for? Is they play
all our winners.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry Cummings, 18,000 points. I mean, he's doing a great job.
Sonics back in the lead with their first free throw of the game. 29-28, 4:59 to go in the half. Doug West, James Robinson. Rebound, Nate McMillan. Ahead to Cummings. Terry Porter saved that.
That was a little bit of a bailout. Referee helped Terry Cummings quite a bit. Those old Lays used to could jump from the other side of the basket and sail to the other side and get that reversed. But he was quickly running out of air time.
The foul on Terry Porter. Here's what we're talking about. These are two veterans down here struggling at this end.
Check him out. Yeah, it was a foul, but he really had no place to go with that ball. Quickly losing altitude.
As you see, Porter got him right on top of the head. Stephon Marbury back in for Terry Porter. So Marbury and Robinson will be the guards for Minnesota now, as the Sonics have taken a 2-point lead with 4:47 to go in the first half. There's a look at the great career of Terry Cummings. 11 playoffs, 14 seasons.
Said some really interesting things earlier today when we talked to him about his role.
How he accepts it.
And how he accepts it. And as a veteran, what he does. Tremendous. I love hearing that stuff.
Gugliotta. Again, kind of running the show as a point forward here. Robinson. Stopped by McMillan. Garrett. You saw Cummings tried to front him, then couldn't get him, reached all the way around for the hole.
That's a big body out there. You got to try to do something. One of the things the big men try to do a lot of times is push off the block, and then they want to circle. Check him out. He's got his forearm in. He's trying to circle around him, but look, you saw him grab him on the back side of his shirt, and that's where the foul counted.
Garrett at 6'11", 30-year-old rookie. .419 to go in the half. Sonics up 3. Minnesota looking for something off of their half-court offense. Shot clock at 10. One way to get it is Marbury's penetration. Not this time. Cummings keeps it alive to Kemp. Percy Hawkins back in the game for Seattle. Wingate came from Charlotte with a trade with Hawkins. Goes to him on the pass.
Look at the difference in the transition defense. Several times already in this game, the Sonics are down long before the Timberwolves get set in their defense. And then Sonics knowing how to make that extra pass, getting in the paint, making things happen for themselves. 2
fouls on Dean Garrett now as Percy Hawkins steps. Only 2 points here tonight. Coming up, Nike halftime report. Just 3 minutes, 59 seconds of basketball away. Ernie Johnson and Brian Burwell are in our Atlanta studios. They'll have all the scores and highlights from a busy Tuesday night in the NBA, including all those games with playoff implications. There was a big one that was on just early tonight. How about Fred Hoiberg's lean-in, double clutch, 1-point-something seconds left in the game triple?
Hey, what else could Divac do to stop him? They got a guy, not Reggie Miller, to take the shot. They make him take a double clutch from 3-point land, and he just drilled it.
We're out here trying to get this game. We're always anxious to get ours going, but that one was so good we almost forgot about the start of the game here in Seattle. 5-point Sonics lead. Seattle on a 7-0 run. After both teams had really seesawed back and forth, Seattle taking a little control, particularly when they went to their bench. Garnett back in.
Now see, the last few times down court, Timberwolves playing into Seattle's hands. Again, slow transition defense by the Timberwolves leads to a Sonic easy basket.
3:23 to go in the half.
And of course, Flip doing the great job that he's doing. Sees this, understands that it could be a problem, has to have a timeout to talk about it.
This is Seattle's biggest lead, and that 20's been changed to a full timeout.
The other thing that you have to really consider is not until you really understand as a bench player that what you do in your 15, 20 minutes on that floor is just as important as a Gary Payton or Shawn Kemp. Until you get to the point where you realize that you never really understand the impact you're making on the game and on the team. And for me, I prepare myself for a game the same as I did when I was playing 30 or 40 minutes a game.
Cummings has 5, Seattle bench 12. That's what you said was so important. And that leadership bleeds over not only in his attitude, but to the rest of the basketball.
There's no question. The whole team thinking in the same way with the same common goal. That's what a veteran does. And the thing I like most is he says that he prepares now as a bench player the same way he prepared as a starter. That's important.
Wasn't in great basketball shape when he joined this team midway through the season, but getting in basketball shape now will be very important in the playoffs.
Well, a lot of times as an older player, Bob, you learn how to keep yourself in better shape by taking care of your body because you have to.
Cummings stepped right into the passing lane for that steal for Seattle right then as we talked about him. Hersey Hawkins being defended by Garnett. West on Cummings. Wingate is open from the perimeter. Look at the leaping ability of Kevin Garnett. Easy rebound, long arms, live body. 2:37 to go in the first period. Minnesota just really struggling to find points, and Stephon Marbury gets his first triple of the game, and it's back to a 4-point Sonics lead.
That could be a big asset for the T-Wolves if they can get somebody to start hitting from the perimeter. Because the way the pressure is for the Sonics, they're going to force you and let you basically have those perimeter shots and going to bank on you not getting in the middle.
Talking about how Minnesota struggled. Those were first points in 3.5 minutes.
That's how the Suns gave them so many problems the other night with a nice win here in Seattle.
Dean Garrett caused that shot to be changed when Wingate penetrated. Minnesota thus comes away from the ball. There's the pressure on the rookie. Good ball rotation.
Look at the ball rotation. Never put the ball on the floor and ultimately turns into free throws for Gugliotta.
That really moved the ball around. And Flip Saunders, we talked to him. Flip was a college teammate. He was a senior when Kevin McHale, general manager of Timberwolves, was a freshman at Minnesota. And here's the ball movement we're talking about.
Look at 1 pass, 2. That is called swing, people. And then the head fake, put it on the floor and make something happen. You're not shooting it well from the perimeter, so you got to give yourself a chance.
And that was the first personal on Shawn Kemp as Gugliotta steps up and hits the free throw. He's an 82% shooter. Looking at the scores there, Detroit beating the Clippers after we saw them on Wednesday night losing to New York. New York lost to New Jersey. Did you see that? Miami a winner. And
break up the net.
Indiana, Utah gets Milwaukee. Seattle, I don't think, has a chance to catch them. And Golden State and Phoenix locked in a big one in overtime. Phoenix playing very well right now when you look at the standings in the West. Phoenix, the Clippers and Phoenix and Sacramento all battling for that 8th and final playoff spot. 2-point Sonics lead. Hawkins. Rebound Gugliotta. Here's going to be a pretty shot. You know what? He's so athletic and jumps so well, it's not a very exciting dunk.
Hey, for you and I, it's an exciting dunk. For him, it's an average. It's a layup.
Seattle, before that timeout, was on a 9-0 run. Minnesota's come back on a 7-0 run. And now we have the game tied at 35 with just over a minute to go in the first half. There's the double on Kemp. Garnett blocked it, give him a steal.
One of the few times that the T-Wolves really made a good rotation. Garnett getting his long arms up for that block.
And burying it from the baseline. What a player.
He's so versatile, Bob. He can come in, you can run, jump, shoot it from the inside, all the soft shots, and then shows you the nice 15-footer from the corner.
2-point lead for Minnesota. Kept alive by Garnett. Marbury looking for the penetration. Oh! Flips it to his 20-year-old teammate. And the foul. 14 points already for Kevin Garnett. How about this? How about these kids? Cardiac kids.
Kevin Garnett knowing what to do. Look at the pass from, and check it out. Bang! And then again, Marbury reading the floor. How did he know the man was there? Well, I'll tell you how. Because he's using his peripheral vision. He takes a picture of the floor before it happens. As it develops, he knows exactly where Garnett's going to be because these guys are reading each other on the floor.
Hey, easy to say. You know what you said is really critical, and I think a lot of fans don't realize one of the parts of being talented as an athlete is the vision.
Oh, so much of it. And everyone has peripheral vision. Point guards just recognize and trust it more.
maybe the best ever Magic Johnson.
Absolutely. Magic Johnson told me many occasions that he takes a snapshot of the floor as it's happening, and then in slow motion, he sees it developing right in front of him.
That's not fair. Second foul on Doug West. Not fair. That's an unfair advantage for Magic Johnson. By the way, we saw Magic in New York on Wednesday night. He was there to open some more of his movie theaters, opening a couple of Magic Johnson cinemas in Harlem.
Magic Johnson's on the move, now becoming a movie producer, hooking up with, I think, Fox Television to do some things.
It sounds like maybe a role coming up there for my sidekick.
Well, I got presents, and I've already got a heavy Christmas list going. I made my bid already. I had him on the plane for about 3 hours one day, just talked his ear off.
That's what he pays for when he becomes a producer. Payton is called for the foul, and Marbury goes to the line. And how about this? The Timberwolves were down 7. Now they're up 4 with 14.5 seconds to go in the half.
Payton, look at his footwork. Just tremendous footwork, but just a little too much upper body contact with that off arm. Referees will let you keep that bent elbow on a man, but as soon as you extend it one time out on the floor, they're going to call that hand checking.
You might say too much glove.
Too much glove. But I just love to watch Payton's footwork. Anytime you get a chance to watch this kid defensively, watch how low he is and the short, choppy steps that he takes defensively.
He's a great player. As you pointed out, he's 6'4". You have to put Doug West on him.
6'4", going on 6'7".
Yeah. 2 seconds in the period. Payton. Oh! It's a triple!
And you can't do anything about that.
41-39. T-Wolves do, however, hold on for a lead at the half, but take a look at Mr. Clutch, Gary Payton. He has 8 in the first half. All right, after this commercial timeout, we'll be going back to our studios. Ernie Johnson standing by with Brian Burwell for the Nike Halftime Report.
TNT doubleheader. Dave Cowan, Charlotte Hornets up by 15, then lose the lead. They're down 113-112, and watch Glenn Rice go to work. With under 10 seconds to play, three-pointer, they got the lead. Reggie Miller had 39, but he wasn't the hero, Brian.
Fred Hoiberg's the man. Watch this up and under. He got a little bird there. Game winner.
Fred Hoiberg had 12 points. That three huge as Indiana gains ground on Cleveland, the number 8 team in the Eastern Conference, winning 116-115 at the Hive. Not only did Indiana gain some ground, Washington did too. They're just a game on the loss side now behind Cleveland because they beat Toronto 113-86. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, well, they were all banged up. Terrell Brandon re-injured himself. Bobby Phills left the game with a groin injury. The Ukraine-trained Vitaly Potapenko leads a comeback. And the Danny Theory, when they're down by 3, no, it won't go. And the Miami Heat, hold on, they led by 22 at the break and had to hang on for dear life to beat Cleveland 83-79. So Cleveland's lead shrinks to 1 game on the loss side over the Washington Bullets, who were winners tonight. New York and New Jersey at Continental Airlines Arena tonight. Patrick Ewing pulls a tricep, leaves the game in the third with the Knicks up by 9. And then the wheels fall off the camper, folks, because watch New Jersey playing at home, coming back to beat the Knicks for the second time this month, 92-86. Joe Klein absolutely loving it, and he's got good reason to. The Knicks falling 92-86, and that's good news for the Detroit Pistons, who beat the Clippers tonight 113-85, and now the Pistons and the New York Knicks all tied up in the loss column for the number 3 spot in the Eastern Conference. Back to the Indiana thing. What a huge win for those guys.
It's even bigger because at this time of the year, when you're trying to catch a team that has lost, you better win. And they did win because also Washington won. So if they lose that game tonight, that is just going to wreck them.
It's one of those games where if they do make the playoffs, they look back and say, remember that Friday night when you were down by 15 at Charlotte and came back to win? That's what the Pacers did tonight. More of the Friday night stuff coming right up on the Nike Halftime Report. Back at you in just a second. On top of Seattle, 41-39. The Sonics, of course, trying to chase down Utah for the top spot in the Western Conference. To keep on chugging because Utah's on a roll. They've won 27 of their last 31. They beat the Bucks tonight at Delta Center 101-96. The Bucks have never won a game at the Delta Center and haven't won in Salt Lake City since 1988. The mailman had 31. Boy, great stuff between Golden State and Phoenix tonight. Check this out. Wesley Person with the score 110-107 ties the game at 110. Golden State has a chance late. Sprewell had a triple-double tonight, but he cannot connect. We go to overtime. Rick Edelman's guys then watch KJ, who had 38 points and 13 assists and 6 steals, hit Rex Chapman, who bottomed it out, and Phoenix wins it 122-115 as they strengthen their hold on the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. Jason Kidd hurt his feet, left the game to have x-rays. 122-115 the final score. Vancouver and Portland, I'm going to go out on a limb and call this one for the Blazers. It's 91-60. The Grizzlies having a dreadful month of March. They are going to be 1-13. And the Boston Celtics still haven't beaten anybody in their own division, the Atlantic. They're 0-21 in the division now. 113-105 the final as the Sixers get them tonight at Core State Center. Let's go back to the Phoenix Suns for a second, Brian. This is a team that started 0-13, and suddenly Danny Ainge has got those guys playing some serious hoop.
This is a very scary ball club right now. Remember now, this is the team that started off 0-13, but forget about that now. Since that 0-13 start, they've won 32 games out of 58. Now you have to worry about facing these guys in the playoffs because, quite frankly, I wouldn't want to because they have a lot of weapons and they could kill you.
Been a long road for Danny Ainge, but now he is above the 500 mark as an NBA coach at 32 wins and 31 losses. Back to wrap things up on the Nike Halftime Report in just a second.
When he has downtime on the West Coast. Of course, do we believe that? Minnesota Timberwolves up here by 2, 41-39. Seattle has a 24-game win streak over Minnesota. Last time Minnesota won, Reggie Theus was playing for the Nets, 91. George Bush was still president. Kevin Garnett, we figured it out, was probably in 7th or 8th grade the last time Minnesota beat the Seattle Supersonics. It's been 24 games ago. It goes back to March 15, 1991. Minnesota trailed by as many as 20 in the third quarter. The coach was Bill Musselman then. Led by the dual efforts of Tyrone Corbin and Tony Campbell combining for 51. The Wolves got back into the game, forced an overtime, went on to win 196, outscoring the Sonics 36-20 after the third quarter. Since then, though, Minnesota has lost 24 straight to Seattle, the longest current losing streak in the NBA. But here at halftime, the T-Wolves 41-39 leading. As you look at the streaks going all the way down there to Chicago's 16-game win streak over Minnesota. Notice they have those two, and then last year they did hold the record before they finally beat Phoenix. They're leading here. And one thing Flip Saunders told us today is he thought that they could be successful if they moved the ball.
No question. I love it when they stick to our game plan.
I do too.
You know, we talked about ball movement and body movement. That has got them over the hump. Right now they got 15 assists on 16 with 16 points on field goals. Great situation. Marbury and Gugliotta getting it done, penetrating.
Minnesota looked like Seattle's about to take control of the game when Kevin Garnett came back in, and he fueled the run here that gave him the lead. As we take a look at the stats here, there's the ball movement, 57% shooting for the T-Wolves in the second quarter.
No question. The type of shots, getting into the paint, and after the defense collapses, they've been able to hit some nice jumpers around the perimeter. Really sweet ball movement tonight for them, body movement all over the floor.
I thought Flip Saunders, as you take a look at the back of the head of the head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, Flip Saunders said it very well. We said, well, what about this streak? He says, well, what you got here is a team that's better than us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Garnett with 15, Marbury 8, Gugliotta 17, Garrett 6. I will say this, Minnesota is an entertaining basketball team. They are very happy to be in the playoffs. Right now, the 6th seed in the West. And Kevin Garnett is a superstar just waiting to, we can't call him that yet. He's a superstar aborting. Probably another couple of years before he becomes a dominating kind of player in the NBA, but he is that good. Shawn Kemp steps in front of the pass, and there's yet another turnover for Minnesota. That's 12. Remember, they only average 15 a game. And as Hawkins takes it to the hoop, he'll get a free throw chance. Gugliotta with the foul. That's Gugliotta's first personal foul. And Larry Stewart went to the hoop with it, got fouled. Larry Stewart to the free throw line. Larry Stewart was nearly killed in a robbery attempt just a few years ago and was luckily, he's from Coppin State. As you look at his career profile here, luckily the robber who had tied him down, taped him, put a pillow over his head, missed his head and shot him in the neck, and he had a miraculous recovery. And Larry Stewart said since that time, like it would be with anybody, his life changed, and now he appreciates every day that he gets to get up.
Hey, you know, the guy's thinking about, I'm supposed to be here.
That's what he said, because he thinks the man upstairs probably has a purpose for him.
Absolutely.
Gary Payton on the baseline. He loves to operate down there. Doug West playing him pretty tough.
Now, see, that's a perfect example of why they have Doug West guarding Payton. You see the type of shot Payton was forced to take. That was not the one he wanted.
Marbury got the steal and then got the ball back. On Marbury, the 20-year-old rookie from Georgia Tech, being defensed by Hersey Hawkins. McIlvain starting as he does the game and the second half, and then Sam Perkins and Cummings usually play the rest of the way at center for Seattle. Kevin Garnett pulls up for the jumper. Rebound, Shawn Kemp.
Really not sure of what they wanted to do offensively that time. Garnett and Gugliotta outside trying to make things happen.
Traveling's the call on Shawn Kemp, so a turnover for the Sonics. They've committed 10 turnovers here. 10:35 to go in the third quarter. Key Arena, Seattle. Reggie Theus, Bob Neal with you. Got a good one going here. 41-39 Timberwolves leading the Sonics, even though the Sonics have beaten the Timberwolves 24 consecutive games.
Now, so far in this early third quarter, the Timberwolves seems like they're trying to slow the game down. Now, that's not what they did to get this lead. They kept pushing and keeping the pressure on.
Garnett made the bad pass there to get the turnover. Inside the Stewart, he's fouled.
Now, one of the things that Flip Saunders talked about is, yes, his team makes a lot of turnovers, but usually not unforced turnovers. A lot of times when you have situations, as you watch Payton making things happen the best that he knows how, look at that. I love it when the guys take that picture and they know where their offensive player is. But
Doug West got his third foul. Go ahead, Reggie.
But the thing is that they know exactly what they're trying to do, and they should stay with what got them to the lead, not slow it down, not become methodical, because once they do that, that's when the traps really become pressurized.
Stewart hits the free throw. Stewart, a 72% shooter, and it's 41-40. Gets one of them. 10 minutes to go in the third period. Payton now defending Marbury. Dean Garrett at the high post. Here, turnover again. 5 on the shot clock. Look at this swarming, smothering defense. Garnett tried to bail him out. Had to take a shot as the clock ran down.
Example of what I just talked about. You see how they slowed the game down. All of a sudden, the traps are real precise and making the Timberwolves play outside, something they don't want to do.
Hersey Hawkins nails the three. On Tuesday night, Minnesota played Houston very close in the first half. Then the third quarter comes around. The veteran team that Houston is, like Seattle, steps out, and bang, bang comes in here and knocks them down. Let's see if it'll happen here. Timberwolves had led it 41-39 at the half, but here in the first 2.5 minutes, they now give up 4 points and are trailing 43-41. Hope you're enjoying our doubleheader here tonight. This Sunday, I want to remind you of an original movie, our latest TNT original movie, The Hunchback. Mandy Patinkin and Richard Harris star in the recreation of the classic tale of Quasimodo, the deformed bell ringer who falls in love with a beautiful gypsy girl. The Hunchback is on TNT this Sunday night at 8 p.m.
Now, Flip Saunders calls that 22nd timeout not to gripe at his team, but to let them know that they are still in this ball game and not to get rattled by a couple of bad trips, but get back to what you were doing prior to those 2 bad trips. And, of course, they came out and didn't do it.
Bad pass from the rookie Marbury. Payton opening in the basket. So he gets the steal and goes coast to coast, and now it's 45-41.
Going to block it up top, but Payton goes underneath the defense for the layup. Again, this is the 4th time down court in a walk-it-up situation, and each time the Timberwolves have not gotten a decent shot or even a shot at the basket.
Sonics have this great ability to change up their defensive look possession by possession, too, which can drive any team crazy, but particularly a young team, as Gugliotta hits the jumper, and the Sonics lead it by 2.
And that particular play right there, Bob, after the slow play, penetration, and then the kick out. That was different from what they had done 3 previous times.
West defending Payton. Garnett's on Larry Stewart. 5 on the shot clock. Kemp faked left. Somebody got a piece of the ball. Kemp diving play, but the shot clock expires. Let's take a look at Payton on the previous possession here. Gary Payton, Seattle.
Gary Payton, look at the hands of the Seattle Supersonics all over the place. Traffic, no problem. Look at his eyes. Watch him. Check him out. Underneath the defense outstretched arms.
Remember how brash he was when he came into the league, Gary Payton? He's really matured himself out of Oregon State in 90.
How about not well liked?
No kidding, he was not, as you well know. And you know what the players say. It reminded me a little bit, and I don't want to get into necessarily a negative comparison, but with Allen Iverson. You know, when he came in, you know, a lot of talk, a lot of talent, and a lot of people not liking him so much.
Nice replay, nice work on the offense by all players. Garrett finishing it out. But yes, definitely maybe an Iverson type of situation. And if Iverson can turn out to be even half the player.
Yeah.
See, that's what you want. You know, George Karl even said he wants his players to be kind of crazy on that edge because that's what makes the difference a lot of times. I happen to like that kind of guy because it's easier to tone a guy down than it is to make him speed up.
Hersey Hawkins. 8 on the shot clock. Minnesota playing a little D here. The move, the crossover from Payton. Shot clock at 4. Larry Stewart's going to have to create something. Stripped away. They never got the shot off. Give Minnesota credit defensively that possession.
No question. Packed it in deep. Held the ground and made them go to the perimeter, but still got hands up.
There comes that Minnesota trap using McElvain way out high. It leaves Garnett a chance to get down low. He saved his own miscue.
Oh,
what a nice pass and excellent position. As you saw, Dean Garrett was in front of Hersey Hawkins. How did the ball get to him?
Held him off sweetly on the backside. Gugliotta, nice skip pass across the front of the key. Googs, 6 assists. Not shooting the ball well from the outside, but making things happen at the point forward.
Speaking of making things happen, Gary Payton. And we've got ourselves a close one. T-Wolves by 1. 7:02 to go in the third period.
See how the great ones turn it up a notch. Gary Payton really slow kind of in the first half, but all of a sudden being down, comes out in the third quarter, turns it up just a little bit.
Kevin Garnett got in trouble, had nowhere to go, tried to give it to Garrett. Now Payton with the ball.
So that was Marbury taught him a couple of bad habits. You can't do that at 6'10", 7 feet.
Larry Stewart gets the pass from Hersey Hawkins, but the foul before the shot. Got some physical play underneath, Reggie.
I'm talking throwing some bodies around. Watch Garrett. Look at him holding Shawn Kemp off. That's muscle against muscle. And all the body contact inside. Googs with the nice pass. Watch Garrett over the face, in your face, and all over you. The Timberwolves all over it. I cracked on the old guy and said, hey, I thought he was Big Bird, a Sesame Street character there. Pretty funny, but definitely paying the man a lot of respect.
Let's see, 74 when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Some good defense and an offensive board in there for Larry Stewart. But in 74, let's see, that was 23 years ago. 3 years before Kevin Garnett was born, Bill Russell was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and Seattle has regained the lead.
And check out Garnett as he blocked an a la Bill Russell shot down there, kept it in play nicely for the Timberwolves to get the ball back.
Bill Russell, of course, makes his home here. He worked with me broadcasting, and despite how much he loved it, he left that to go coach you at Sacramento.
And we had a ball. He's a very funny man. Had nerve enough to talk about the way I laugh. Look at that pass, and watch off the glass, keeping the timing just like Bill Russell would have taught him if he was his coach, to keep the ball in play always. That was one of his trademark accomplishments. Blocked a lot of shots, but always kept it in play so the Boston Celtics could run the floor.
Marbury hits the first free throw. Larry Stewart picked up his third personal on that play, by the way. Marbury gets them both. And the T-Wolves lead it by 1, 50-49, with 5:58 to go in the third quarter from Key Arena in Seattle, Washington. Second of our doubleheader tonight on TNT. Hope you enjoyed that barn burner. In the first, as Payton hits from the baseline, Indiana coming from behind. They were down, what, 14 or 15 to come from behind. And got a Fred Hoiberg triple with 1-point-something seconds left to win that game over Charlotte. Tough loss for Charlotte. Indiana, of course, trying to get into the Final 8 for the playoffs. 8 on the shot clock. Gugliotta has it blocked by Stewart. Stolen by Marbury. Tried to split the defense out of bounds. 20 on the shot clock. Marbury wanted to foul, didn't get it.
But you're talking about Payton getting open the last time down, but this is why he got open. Watch Shawn Kemp stand up, Doug West. Oh my, that hurts. And then Payton finishing it off with a nice jumper in the corner.
Shawn Kemp's really kind of been missing in action in terms of offense, though. He had 8 points in the first 8 minutes and only 1 point in the last 19 minutes. Garrett in deep trouble on the baseline, and he's going to be fouled. Got a hold. It's on Hersey Hawkins. That's his first personal. As we look at Hawkins, who committed a foul there, one of the things, George Karl said 2 things about, he said a bunch of things there. He said one reason, he says he may have kept him in coaching. He said when he came to this locker room, he really re-enthused George Karl.
The man might not be coaching all right now. If he hadn't came to the team, that's a heck of a statement for a coach to say. You know they don't like to give up those kind of shots.
You know that. Sonics by 1 point, 4:54 to go, 11 on the shot clock. Crowd not pleased with the call, but Timberwolves get it. West open for the perimeter shot. That's a 2. Doug West.
Stand me up out there. Hit me in the chest. Take this.
Doug West out of Villanova. 89. He's 7 years in the league. Hawkins. Money.
Just such a well-executed play. The last time Shawn Kemp hit Doug West with that shimmer pick, made him soften up. But when Hawkins is out on the floor, Bob, Payton is working to get that guy open, because the one thing that Hersey Hawkins can do for you, and that is fill it if you get it to him in his rhythm.
He's picked up the scoring in the absence of Detlef Schrempf tonight. 10 points. He's made 2 threes this quarter.
The one thing that Coach Karl said is how well he steps into a situation offensively, making things happen. Oh, my, look at that.
The first step was blindingly fast, and then the lay-in over the defense on the interior from Stephon Marbury.
The key is, when they accelerate like that, is to have the agility and the ability to slow yourself down in mid-stride to make it happen with cohesion.
To finish.
Exactly, to finish.
Here's a look at it.
Look at his eyes. He sees what he wants. Oh, I got you now. And then watch him slow up. Take it. Gain your composure, and there it is off the glass. It's so smooth. It looks so easy, but it's so difficult.
Doug West just picked up his 4th foul, by the way, as he'll have to go to the bench. But West, we expected West to pick up some fouls tonight because he has given the very tough assignment of having to defend Payton, and now James Robinson is in. There's the field goal shooting this quarter. Payton loves to operate from a point guard from the baseline.
Well, he can make so many things happen from there with his ability to pass as we speak.
Hersey Hawkins almost had a Jordan-esque spinner, but it wouldn't go. Take a look at Payton operating.
Well, we talked about Marbury. Look at Payton's eyes right here. He knows that the defense is coming right now, and he sees Hawkins cutting, and that's why he's so tough down there on the low post, because you got to honor him, because we talked about how tall he is and how dangerous he is at the low post. The other players know this, so they're always stepping into the pockets when the defense comes for the double.
That was Garrett's 3rd personal foul, by the way. 3:52 to go in the 3rd quarter. Sonics back up by a point. Hersey Hawkins, who played for our broadcasting colleague Dick Versace at Bradley, where he led the nation in scoring. Dick likes to remember how he coached him on that.
And we'll tell you.
Hey, tell you what, give him credit for the recruiting.
Absolutely.
56-54 Sonics, 3:39 remaining in the 3rd period. With interior pass, Garnett with another interior pass, and the lay-in from Dean Garrett.
I tell you what, I love the way the T-Wolves finish out here. They're not wasting any time. And speaking of finishing, there's one of the best right there.
Just if you miss a step on the Sonics, they will burn you on the other end. It took them 3 seconds to get that ball down.
Always the mark of a great team. After you score, you celebrate just 1 second, and bang, they're right on top of you with another basket.
Inside to Garrett, working against McElvain. Stephon Marbury had to give it up because Kemp defensed him. But look at James Robinson knock down the triple. T-Wolves 59-58. How about how well teams shoot against the Sonics? What's the deal on that? I mean, they're an excellent defensive team. It's not because they give up the shots.
Teams know that in order to even be in the game with them, watching some hectic basketball, look at the hustle all over the place. 2-3 tips. McElvain finishes. Now that was a sequence. That's just grit. That's hustle. That's effort out on the floor. Could have gave up a number of times, but when there's a basket involved, guys like offense. They like to see those points go up on the bucket.
Shawn Kemp really working to keep it alive down there before McIlvaine finally tipped it in. 7 on the shot clock for Garrett. Tough shot.
Falling away, going to the left side, high archer with McIlvaine's mug.
McIlvaine 7-1. He's out of Marquette, you may recall. That's a triple from Hersey.
Again, one of the sweetest plays in the game is the drive and kick. So many coaches have learned that in high school. Payton make the move, draw the defense, and kick it to my shooter.
You know what? I don't mind the 3,000-mile flight from New York to see this game. It's a heck of a ball game. Hersey Hawkins, 15 points, 11 in the third period. Garnett missing. Rebound, McMillan. Hawkins, look at the change of direction. And the pass.
And the unselfish play. He could have shot that, but Shawn Kemp hasn't been in the offense that much tonight, Bob. Give him a crib. Give him some crackers there.
65-61. Sonics by 4. Minute 18 to go in the third period. Timberwolves led by 2 at the half. Marbury working against Payton. Listen to the crowd. 4 on the shot clock. Robinson. 3 from James Robinson.
That's the second time he's had a hand in his face and he's drilled a long jumper like that.
We got a foul.
Hersey Hawkins so unselfish. He had a shot here, could have taken himself, but look and give it to the Rain Man all the way down. The Sonics fighting back.
Reggie, here's that incredible sequence.
Unbelievable. This TNT crew got you right in the play, just like you're in the play yourself. Just listen to it. Now, I tell you what, he feels good about that hustle. That is big-time NBA basketball all over the floor.
How about on that sequence, Seattle had 5 offensive rebounds, 6 shots.
And it all started off with a nice pass and just hustle all over the place.
If you're playing Cleveland, that's an entire quarter. Our Chevy scoreboard. Sorry, Mike Purcell.
Oh, that's cold.
I know. We're just kidding.
The letters will fly.
Philly beating Boston. Detroit got the Clippers. New Jersey beat the Knicks after the Knicks had the big win over Detroit on Wednesday night. Miami got Cleveland. Speaking of Cleveland, Miami playing well down the stretch, and Utah staying in front of Seattle for the #1 seed out west. Kemp, 13 points, 13 rebounds at the free throw line. Portland continues to play well, too. They beat Vancouver tonight. Don't forget to catch Inga Hammond and Steve Bartlestein tonight at 11 o'clock on CNNSI. They'll take a look at the NCAA Final Four preview, women's highlights, preview for the men, women's highlights. And we got a beauty here. 66-64, Sonics. With under a minute to go in the third quarter. T-Wolves led it by 2 at the half. Pick and roll. Played beautifully by Seattle.
Well, you got to set the pick. Made it real easy for him.
And we saw that a lot in the third quarter against Houston for Minnesota. Is Marbury running out of time having to pull up the long-range shot. Here's Hersey Hawkins, who's been on fire in the period. Garnett kept it alive, saved by Robinson, deflected by Seattle. Left hand from Gary Payton.
Oh, don't change up on him in mid-stride. You got to call that. Give it to him.
Sonics 68-64, 18 seconds to go in the period. It can be demoralizing. There's no question about it. The Sonics are the Timberwolves playing very hard here, and they get that kind of play.
It reminds me so much of George Gervin calling the left hand off the glass against me one time back in the day.
Calling it. In the action.
In the middle of his play. Left hand Fizz.
68-64. Hawkins has been on fire this period. And the Timberwolves, who were down 2 at the half, come back to lead by 4 going into the fourth period. Third quarter, 11 points and 3 triples for Hersey. Final 12 minutes. Sonics lead it by 4, 68-64. Perkins, McMillan, Shawn Kemp, David Wingate, and Gary Payton on the floor for Seattle.
interesting lineup. You got Garnett guarding McMillan out on the floor.
Robinson on Payton. Perkins behind a screen, got away from Mitchell, launched the three and missed it. Rebound, Garnett. Sonics by 4. Final 12 minutes. Remember, Seattle has defeated Minnesota 24 consecutive meetings in regular season play. Longest current streak in the NBA.
Got a mismatch over here. Payton guarding Garnett. You got to get the ball to him. There you go.
And Payton goes down, but they're going to call him for the foul. Hugh Holland saw it. He had the better angle, even though he was further away from the play. Stepped in, made a confident call on this.
Check out, watch Payton getting underneath Garnett and making him fall. Even though it looked like Payton was giving way ground, Hugh Holland, the veteran referee, knows that Garnett had no other choice but to fall down.
That was a good call.
Very good call.
Sonics by 4. 11:19 to go in the ball game. T-Wolves, the 6th seed in the West right now. They're coming off a win over Denver on Wednesday night. Kevin Garnett. Sweet turnaround move. And what a personality. Wait till fans get to know him.
Well, they keep playing like this, they're going to get a lot of TV time. It's a great showing for them.
Yeah, Perkins with his hook shot. I started to say he goes to his left hand, too.
Oh, yeah, quite a bit, actually. He probably writes with his left also.
Almost always. And he's with his left. Sonics by 4. Now Perkins out on Marbury. See, they got Garnett down deep, but a 3-second violation. The rookie couldn't get it to him quick enough.
Tough situation right there. You have Marbury trying to get the ball from the top of the key. He should have passed it over to the wing and let the ball come in from the side. That would have made Garnett change his position to the outside of the basket, outside of the lane, so he could be one-on-one with Payton.
Here you are. You're a sitcom star. You're a television analyst. Sounds to me like you're ready to coach. That's a team by the Kemp.
I appreciate it, but I like leaving the game without a headache.
Well said. 72-66 Sonics, 10:18 to go in the ball game. Timeout, Minnesota. Timberwolves hoping not to tie their own record of most consecutive losses to one team of 25, which they set that record last year against Phoenix. Time to take a look at tonight's Dutch boy in the paint. Take a look at the rebounding. The Sonics offensively, they got 5 of those offensive boards on that one sequence we showed earlier.
No question. What effort. I just love to see that type of play. You know, people always criticize about the NBA not giving it 100%, but that was unreal. And Garnett down low, making things happen. Look at that. Bank, bank, bank. And the high archer.
17 points for Garnett. Here's Shawn Kemp answering at the other end.
Now that's an easy dunk for him.
You know what? He's the Buffalo Bills of the dunk contest. You know how many times he entered it? 4 or 5 times. Never won. Go figure. Don't tell him I said that, please. Cummings now into the ball game. Robinson. Gugliotta.
Look at the shirts, all the white shirts, and Gugliotta still gets the ball off and into the bucket. But you see how they converged on him as he got into the paint? What a swarming defense.
Sonics by 4. That's a big bucket for Timberwolves there with 9:51 to go in the ball game. As Seattle's threatening to go on a long run here. Payton isolated. Open man. McMillan. Long arms with Perkins.
See, if you got to give somebody a shot out there, McMillan's the one you want to give it to. Not that he can't hit it, but that's the guy you got to live with.
Fouls on Sam Mitchell. Turner Sports continues to bring you great NBA action next week. Lakers, Sonics, I mean, they're battling for that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th playoff spots in there, along with Houston Hawks and Hornets. Also a big Eastern. And the Suns, by the way, play the Rockets in Game 2 of that doubleheader. Moves into 7th seed. That's a triple.
And that's not the guy you want to leave out there for those triples. Very effective big man around the perimeter. Big smooth, they call him.
Gugliotta. Garnett comes back, misses it. Didn't finish. Cummings gets the weak side rebound and draws the foul. Payton, I truly believe, Reggie, that Payton went in for that layup where he might not have otherwise, knowing Cummings was on the other side of the rim.
Gugliotta and Garnett a little bit relaxed on this offensive set. Garnett figures that 7 feet, he can get that in easy.
Terry Cummings steps to the free throw line with 9:01 to go in the ball game. Sonics leading at 75-68, make it 76-68. Biggest lead in the first half was, I think, 7 points. This is 8. Biggest lead of the game. 6 points, 1 assist for Terry Cummings. He's playing about 15 minutes a game, but it's a very effective 15, and often the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. Perkins misses the 3. Cummings kept it alive. Wingate. He tried to no-look Cummings, who was sliding to the hoop and simply missed it.
Well, it was a good idea. Cummings sliding to the basket. Wingate trying to do the right thing, but really lost the handle in midstream there.
Terry Porter now, the veteran in at the point guard spot, to try to settle things down here a little bit as rookie Stephon Marbury gets a rest. They'll run the offense through Gugliotta a little bit. 8 on the shot clock. Sam Mitchell.
Again, the Sonics getting the T-Wolves to do what they want, and that is to play half-court basketball offensively. A little bit too much zone defense right there. Referees caught him in the mix.
George Karl. George, that was a darn good look. I mean, look at this. It's like somebody stole his dog.
We never did that before.
Never. Hugh Hollins, I get such a kick. Hugh Hollins just sees through this stuff.
It's been around a long time. You know, Hugh Hollins used to referee my high school game back in Los Angeles.
That's not a good sign for you. He came into the league, how much he knew you, right?
Yeah, actually, he was real hard on me when I first came in the league because he knew me, exactly.
Payton fouled on his way to the hoop. 8:14 to go in the game. Illegal defense called against Minnesota. That's a warning. It'll be a new 24 and an inbounds on the side for the Sonics.
And, of course, on that particular play, George Karl's face changed tremendously.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Right call. He says, I understand that. You've got to call it to be fair.
Hey, it's only fair, guys.
Nate McMillan. He came, just as he came back off the injury list, they missed him so badly that when Shrimp went on, Shrimp is due back, by the way, sometime around the 1st of April. He started workouts, but still he was tender in the yardage. Here's Terry Cummings. After 2, just inside the line.
Seattle Supersonics.
Biggest lead of the game.
Seattle Supersonics showing their own version of ball movement, kicking it out with the swing.
Porter answers with a 3. The veteran comes back and cuts it quickly to 7 with 7:43. No quit in Minnesota tonight. They've lost to this Seattle team 24 straight times, dating way back to 1991.
And the last time they played this team, they played them great for 3/4 of a ball game.
Traveling on the call, and that went to David Wingate, who wasn't quite sure whether to shoot or to get it to McMillan, and in so doing, he shuffled his feet, and now the Sonics could cut it to 5.
Well, the Timberwolves, in their own version of a trapping defense on that time down court, caused Seattle to make an errant pass and a traveling.
Doug West back in the ballgame now. He's carrying 4 fouls in him, but Gugliotta tried to take it off the glass. 3 on 2. West back in, got the rebound. This is 2 on 1. Tough pass from Gugliotta. No way for him to handle it.
Really should have took up some more space. Maybe would have created a little bit more. The bottom line is, on situations like that, you got to dribble almost to the top of the key before things develop. A lot of times they will happen for you, but sometimes, other than happening early, they happen late.
Gugliotta, usually a pretty good ball handler in the open court for big man.
No, we've seen a couple of times tonight. He has over 6 assists for the game, and we've seen some great passing from Gugliotta.
Got a substitution coming in. They called the foul on Sam Mitchell. Before that, that's his 4th personal. And the substitution is Hersey Hawkins. And we're going to get Dean Garrett back in for Minnesota. He'll come in for Sam Mitchell. 7-point Sonics lead here with 6:54 to go.
Gary Payton handling his team, the leader out there, instructing his team right now to just play basketball, do the right thing. And as a leader does, he comes on the floor after he yells or gets on somebody a little bit and takes over himself. Say, hey, listen, this is how you get it done, guys. 18 points. Shooting the ball well.
Gugliotta and James Robinson in a lot of traffic with those incredible quick hands of Seattle. Gotta love Seattle's style of play. All that talent and all that hustle.
Well, we talked about it earlier as the tempo of the game was changing in Seattle Supersonics' favor. And they know how to take advantage of it.
The running hook doesn't go. Garrett gets the outlet very quickly to Robinson. Nobody to help him down there offensively, though.
Now, see, earlier in the game when they had numbers that were even, they were making advances to the basket. Now, this time, look what happens. They have an advantage early. It turns into a three-pointer with a hand in your face that didn't go. That's the story of the game at this point right now.
Seattle by 9. 5:48 remaining. Kevin Garnett on the bench getting a little more rest before coming back into his final run. Hersey Hawkins, quick release for a triple, and that is now a 12-point lead, the biggest of the game.
And a dying breed in the NBA, guys that can come off the pick, catch it, and shoot it on a dime. Seattle Supersonics taking commanding lead for this game.
(83-71). Hersey Hawkins has come alive in the third and fourth quarters. He has 18 points, 4 triples.
Well, he averaged 36 points at Bradley and hasn't stopped him in the NBA from all over the floor. He's shooting it, playing defense with his team, and giving up some assists for guys like Shawn Kemp. But the quick release is his deepest weapon. Check him out coming on this last one here. The catch and shoot, bang. Too late, baby.
I started to say shades of Dale Ellis.
Absolutely. Quick shot.
Hersey Hawkins, he had only 4 points, was 0 for 2 on threes in the first half. In the second half, 14 points, 4 out of 4 from beyond the arc. And George Karl said to him, you know, when Detlef Schrempf comes back in, you stepped your offense up. Don't step it down.
Don't stop, right, exactly. Not only that, he's a guy that's only missed 7 games in 8+ years. That's pretty amazing right there.
Iron Man. 83-71, Sonics' biggest lead in the game with 5:22 to go on a 15-5 run are the Sonics. Garnett is back in, and a 3-second violation on Garnett. Stephon Marbury, Doug West, Dean Garrett, Gugliotta, the starting 5 back in there for Minnesota. And how about this? Averaging 15 turnovers a game, already 21 tonight. George Karl said this team is so good, Seattle defensively, that his goal is to get 30 turnovers.
They could.
9 more.
It's possible.
Sure. Hawkins, nowhere to go. 5 on the shot clock. Kemp got away with a push.
The big thing from a defensive standpoint for the Sonics is, as Gary Payton, look at him orchestrating their offense. See how he slowed it down, and then, I can do this, guys. I can do this.
And the foul
so
calls
sweet.
before. Yeah.
So sweet at handling this team. Everybody has so much respect for Gary Payton out on the floor, and the decisions that he has to make as the point guard the team lives with. Check him out. He's checking out the floor. He sees, I don't like that, guys. Slow down. I handle this right here. Okay. I don't like what I see. Okay, I'll take it this way. Okay, nice.
83-71. Payton doesn't get the 3. Dean Garrett gets the rebound. Kemp fouled.
See, I remember those days when I played point guard like that. Sure, but the difference is on my team, my guys on my team have been like, Reggie, what are you talking about? Just give me the ball. What they're trying to do.
You and I were talking about the great Final Four in Atlanta in '77. Were you a junior?
Yes, I was. You were a junior. Actually, I was a sophomore. I'm sorry.
Yeah. North Carolina, Marquette, UNLV, UNC Charlotte.
The great thing about college basketball is the best team doesn't always win. And I believe we were clearly the best team that year.
Who's the other guard? Sutton Sam
Smith, Tony Smith, Robert Smith.
Should have been a Smith. Reggie Smith. See, it works. It's been a Reggie Smith. All right, 83-71. Sonics, nobody scored here in the last roughly minute. 4:19 to go in the ball game. Sonics will be fine to just leave it like it is. Kemp works down low. 3-second violation, and it'll be Minnesota ball. It ain't over yet, except Minnesota's having a real hard time finding offense, but so have a lot of teams when they get to crunch time against the Sonics.
The one thing that George Karl said earlier, and Flip also reiterated this, is that the Timberwolves are a flow team. If you don't get after them and they just are able to flow in their offense, they're very dangerous. The key for the Sonics tonight is to keep the unbelievable pressure on, just like you're watching right there.
Blocked by Kemp. Follow-up by the 30-year-old rookie, Dean Garrett, and he'll get another shot here.
Very nice offensive tries by the Timberwolves, but it took that second effort. The defense was hard. Check out Payton. Look at him all over the place. And then look, the block by Kemp, but Dean Garrett making a living on the offensive boards.
Looking for his 18th point here. Look at this, 8 out of 9 from the floor. Made a 3-point play out of it. It's a 9-point Sonics lead with 3:58 remaining.
The one thing that the Timberwolves are really trying, as you see there, I think that they're into a little trapping defense of their own right now, is that they want to gain respect, and they're trying to play the best basketball that they can play going into the playoffs. And I think this is a great indication tonight of the way this team has grown.
Excellent pass by Gugliotta, almost stolen by Hersey Hawkins. And now it's a 7-point Sonics lead. Remember, the last time Seattle played at home here, they lost a close from the Phoenix. They don't want to lose 2 in a row at Key Arena going into the playoffs. Barry Cummings in a reverse and back to a 9-point lead. You get the feeling that no matter how hard the Sonics or the Timberwolves play here, they're not going to be able to get this game away from the Sonics on the home court.
It's a tough situation. I've been in a situation, I've played on a lot of bad teams in my career, and the one thing that always happens is you play good teams tough for about 3/4 of the game, and somehow or another they turn it up a notch, and they know they can turn it up a notch and just take the game right out of you.
Here's the Gugliotta pass that was so nice. It was nearly intercepted, though, by the transition defense of Hersey Hawkins. Here's Gugliotta getting the ball and making the pass.
Look at that. Never came down with it. Body control and strength is the only way, and awareness on the floor.
So Terry Cummings goes back to the free throw line. Tom Gugliotta, between Gugliotta and Garnett, they've got some good forward play on this Minnesota team. A couple of the top forwards in the game, top probably 5 combinations in the league. Coming up on Sunday, join NBC for more NBA action. Coverage gets underway at noon with Showtime, followed by an Atlantic Division collision between the Knicks and the Magic in Orlando. The NBA on NBC this weekend.
You know, talking about Goog and Garnett as a duo, the thing that I like most about this tandem is the fact that they can play inside and they can play on the perimeter. That is something that you don't see all the time. And the passing ability of both players and the willingness to pass.
Marbury got the front edge of that on the 3, and we've got a jump ball as West ties up Hawkins. And one of the things that comes to mind as we saw Marbury short arm the 3-point attempt is something George Karl said. He says what we want to do with this young 20-year-old or any point guard is we want to pressure him, pressure him, pressure him, pressure him. It'll show up late in the game.
We want him to think that he doesn't know where the next trap is coming from. Get the ball out of his hands, make somebody else be the ball handler. And that's why you've seen Goog a lot in this game playing point forward.
See, Marbury's quickness got back there, wouldn't allow Payton to pass to the basket. Listen to the crowd cheering the ball handling of their leader, Gary Payton. McMillan saw Shawn Kemp down and tried to lob it, but didn't make a good pass. 2:16 to go in the game, 11-point Sonics lead. Looking for their 25th win in a row over the Timberwolves. Marbury got that one.
Very nice looking shot, and that's an area where Marbury has to step his game up. Shooting about 39% from the field really will help his game in the long run as a guard to be able to hit that perimeter jumper.
8-point lead by the Sonics. Minute 52 to go. Minnesota looking for a stop.
You can't give up the baseline so easily. You really can't. No help on that side of the court.
Doug West got his hand on it, but it was saved by Seattle with 1 on the shot clock. And Gary Payton knocks down the 2, and that would be the dagger.
But nevertheless, only 10 down with 1:30 left. Still in contact with this ball game, but maybe out of reach. But definitely a good showing for the Timberwolves.
Timberwolves the 6th seed right now in the West. If they were to drop a notch and finish 7th seed, they would open the first round against Seattle. Right now, it would be against the Lakers. But Seattle, Lakers, and Houston all within 2 games of each other in the loss column. And so either Seattle, Lakers, or Houston, any of them could finish 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. Timeout. Minnesota, 1 minute to go. Sonics up by 12.
Definitely. The guards are the ones who made it happen for the Sonics. 20 points, 10 assists by Payton. Hawkins, 20 points, 16 in the second half.
Inside the NBA coming up right after the game, Brian Burwell, Ernie Johnson back in our studios. And here's what we're talking about when I say Minnesota wanting to be the Sonics. Look at the difference in experience.
Unbelievable. Look at that. The one thing you have to really respect out of these young T-Wolves is the fact that they play hard and they're gaining respect. And that's the start of turning this organization around. Making the playoffs is gravy from the things that they've got going all year long.
There you see the way Seattle wears on you. Field goals by percentage by quarter. Look at that in the fourth, down to 38%. And by the way, I was just thinking, Minnesota Golden Gophers, of course, in the Final Four. Their starting five may be nearly as old as this starting five. With two 20-year-olds on it.
Incredible. Such a long way to go to make this a championship team, but always, I mean, really on the right track and doing it with good, solid people. And the one thing that I really like about what Kevin McHale is doing, he's got so many ex-players as assistant coaches. And I think one of the things that is important for Generation X is communication and dealing with guys that you can talk to that's been there.
3 on the shot clock. And the foul, bailing him out with 1 second on the shot clock. Foul on Tom Gugliotta. And Craig Elo, who hasn't had many minutes in the later stages of his career, came here as a free agent from Atlanta. There's Flip Saunders. Flip played with McHale. And there are the assistants you're talking about. You got Randy Whitman on his right.
Randy Whitman, Greg Ballard. They got Jerry Seasteen also involved.
Mike Schuler.
Mike Schuler is the older guy. Look at this. Now, that's the kind of staff that the players can relate to. And I have to believe that that is a thing that came from Kevin McHale, something that he's trying to create, an organization that is basketball people. Very important.
Minnesota looks like they're about to turn the corner, even though they're losing here tonight. And this is a record of dubious distinction. As Flip Saunders said, seems like every time I turn around, we're trying to snap some kind of bad record from our franchise being expansion team. And this will be the 25th consecutive loss for Minnesota to the Seattle Supersonics, dating back to 1991. And it will tie the record that Minnesota set when they finally broke it last year when they beat Phoenix. It was 25 losses in a row to the Phoenix Suns.
There are such things as good and bad losses. They played pretty well for most of this game. I thought they changed the tempo of the game, trying to slow it down and allow the Sonics. Oh, that's the old guy getting hung on the rim. That's a definite sign of 30-plus years behind you. I've been there, Terry. I'm with you, baby. You and I'm going to take up for you all the way because I got hung once, too.
Thou dost protest very loudly. Look at Hersey Hawkins, our butt player of the game.
He's cracking up at Terry. See, that's the kind of thing you don't want to happen at the end of the game. Because they know as soon as they get in the locker room, they're going to be putting tape on his locker that's hanging. They're going to draw pictures. Oh, they're going to give him a hard time for that.
Yeah. 10 seconds. This ball game's going to be over. Sonics are going to get themselves an 11-point win. Or more if that falls. Or less if that counts. But it doesn't. 92-81 Seattle with the win here. Kevin Garnett, a star of the future. But his team's too little for Seattle here tonight. 25 consecutive wins as the Sonics outscore Minnesota 53-39 in the second half. Timberwolves led it by 2 at the halfway break. We'll be back with more right after this.